at the KSMO studios. It's time for our spotlight on the Salem Memorial District Hospital. Gina Daniels has made her way in, and this is her pilgrimage this time of year because rehab month's right here.
Good morning,
How are you?
Stan.
How are you?
Good to see you, my friend.
Well, it's good
I
to
am
see
wonderful.
you. Good to see you. It's time to rehab, isn't it?
It is. I just, I want to thank you for letting us come each week and spotlight the hospital. For me, that's easy. I've worked out at the hospital a few years, 26 plus years.
It's hard when you're 39 and you worked there 26 years.
I know. I started so young. And, over those years, I could have worked somewhere different. Anywhere along the way as a physical therapist, I could have worked in other places. But every day, I still choose Salem Hospital. And, I'm one of the hospital's biggest cheerleaders because I believe in what we do. So it's easy for me to support and promote good quality service. Mm-hmm. I always say, when I go into a restaurant, a business, it's the people that bring me back or don't. You know what I mean?
That's it, yeah.
And so I want to see that smile, even if it's under a mask. You can tell.
Yes, you can.
By the eyes. I want to see that personality shining through. It's the food can be delicious somewhere, but if the person is grouchy, I won't be back. So I just feel like we do a great job with that, and the people are why I stay. So, I just wanted to come in and give a little update.
Right.
The hospital's doing well. Volume's coming back.
Volume's back up.
This the last couple years, so much has changed in the world with the pandemic, and nothing's different. There's changes at Salem Hospital as well. However, in both of those cases, we're seeing good trends, and good progress. And March has brought a lot of volume to the hospital in all areas. And, mark my word, Salem Hospitals, we're not going anywhere.
No.
And there's such wonderful people in this community, and there are some really great people out at the hospital that value the health of the community.
Absolutely.
And so, I always say I'm one of the luckiest people out there because I have the best team of people that I work with. Day in, day out. This whole world of COVID pandemic, in working in healthcare the last few years, it's not for the wimpy, so to speak.
It's been a challenge, I know, and you guys have done a great job.
There's a lot of dedicated people out there, dedicated to, to showing up, to working hard, dedicated to the community, to their coworkers, and, but we're busy. It's great.
To the health of the patients too, and that's the key. Salem Hospital always had great home health. They've had great rehab all the time for years and years. Been known for it. I mean, always one of the tops in home health and rehab around the area. People say, well, but if I get my surgery in St. Louis, they want me to stay there, or they want me to stay there. No, you don't have to stay there. You have that right to come back here and get that service you need close to home. Up there, you do it on your own. And then you're done, and what do you do? Who do you communicate with?
We're really pushing to, we've had it sitting there, and we've used our swing bed service, but we're really wanting to utilize it to its, to its best potential, and that is those cases where whichever hospital, whatever town you're in,
right.
If you have a qualifying stay of the 3-day qualifying stay, but you're not ready to go back home by yourself or have a family member care for you, you can come to our
facility
and receive whatever skilled service it may be that you need.
Right. Close to home.
Yes, it's that, that post-acute care that is so, it's needed. Right. I do the home health, and there are times that we see people at home, and I'm thinking, oh, if they could have just been in the hospital for a few more days. They just weren't quite ready.
Yeah.
So it's utilizing the services and the talents we have where the patient most needs it and where it's most appropriate. And so the other thing that I feel like the pandemic has done is, fear does crazy things to people, and people postpone things.
Oh, yeah.
They don't go to the doctor for those checkups unless, it's already been so long and they just can't.
Right. They didn't want to be around anybody.
Correct.
They didn't want to go there. And they didn't want to find out if they had something because then they have to go in the hospital and there's COVID. Well, there's COVID there and there's COVID everywhere. Where are you going to go? But just like you're saying, though, hey, guys, let's get past that. So your health is important. And if you've put it off for 2 years or a year and a half, Gina, you need to get checked. You need to go in there. At least get a few things done to see if there's something major wrong with you.
Well, and that's
hopefully
what I'd
there
say.
Isn't. Yeah.
It's a perfect time.
It is.
Hopefully we're over that nasty weather stuff, as it's yucky today, but hopefully we're over that the ice, things that would keep you from going to the doctor.
Right.
But, call the clinic, set up that appointment, that follow-up, schedule that mammogram that
Brand
sometimes us ladies, we postpone those things.
Yeah.
But, those preventative tests save lives. And Dr. Bland, she has started, and I have heard absolutely nothing but glowing reports from my patients that have gone to see her. We have another provider that's coming, and I have worked closely with her in the past, so I can tell you people will just fall in love with her bubbly, positive personality, and she's going to be a wonderful addition back to the hospital.
And I think next year Brady Floyd will be here, too, another homegrown talent.
So we have we have a wonderful future ahead of us. And so
that has to excite
I'm excited.
You. Yeah,
absolutely.
Has to excite you.
Absolutely. But so I could talk, I don't have trouble talking, but
and she talks with her hands as well.
Especially when it comes to things that are easy to talk about. So I wanted to come today specifically and talk a little bit about our outpatient services.
Well, let's do it. While you're here, we may as well do it, right?
Absolutely. We have PT and OT services, and, you and I have talked many times in the past.
Well, wait a minute. PT is physical therapy, and OT is occupational therapy.
That's correct.
For you people out there that may not know, but that's
correct.
The lingo of the
That's correct. And, we I think people, they automatically think of therapy services if they, have a knee replaced or have a shoulder surgery or tear a rotator cuff or someone has a stroke. Some of those just more obvious things that are utilized so often with therapy.
People associate that.
Sure.
Directly with rehab,
sure.
Yes.
But a couple things that I wanted to highlight that you may not necessarily come right to your mind about therapy. We've had a couple patients recently that have come to us. It's wonderful. They're getting involved here in the community and they're starting to work out. We've got a lot of places that promote, working out and being active.
Getting healthy.
But a couple people have gone in on their own, done a little too much, a little too heavy, worked a little too hard too soon, and they developed these pains and injuries
Right.
from just not really being
Overexertion, basically.
knowing
Yeah.
exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So they got an order and they came in, and we were able to help them set up a program and educate them about the proper progression of exercises and weights and machinery. Reel them back a little bit of what they were doing, but just give them a good start, a good foundation of knowledge, and let them take it back with them to the gym and do things in a good way, in a way that they'll stick with it.
Right.
When things don't hurt so much, we tend to stick with exercise.
It's a
little bit.
progressive plan that works upon the previous day. And that's what you have to do. Unfortunately, you know as well as I do, some people get in the gym or they get into a workout facility and somebody will challenge them to do something. I bet you can't lift 200 pounds, or I bet you can't. And they take that as an ego buster, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show you. Well, you just don't go from 140 pounds to 200 pounds and try and lift that. You're going to do something wrong and trying to maneuver that weight to an upper level that you may end up hurting your back. You can go tear rib cage muscle. You can do a number of different things, Gina, as you well know. And those injuries are not just easily spotted. They can last a long time.
And even just watching other people in the gym, you want you want to do what they're doing.
You're envious, aren't you?
But you just to stick with it and for it to really benefit you, it has to be individualized, and that requires a foundation of knowledge, so
Right.
to speak, of knowing what is right for you. You have some knee issues. Is not going to be. We would not establish
Not
or
do squats.
recommend certain things for you to
Right,
do
sure.
that someone without those issues would probably be okay doing.
Right.
So,
And it's a slow burn. You know, they always talk, it's a long-term thing, but it's a slow burn. You need to work it slowly to get there. You want to exert, you want to do your exercise, but you want to grow on that. You want to build on that previous day or that previous week, and Gina, you know as well as I do, when people first get a rehab, when we go back to what you're talking about, if they got a knee replaced or a shoulder replaced, when you first come into that rehab, they're scared to death. They don't know what it's going to do. They don't know how bad it's going to hurt. They don't know what they're going to do. And you know as well as I do, apprehension is 95% of the problem.
when I go to see people that have just had a knee replaced, I tell them, I'm your tour guide through this. If you're not doing enough, I'm going to encourage you to do a little more. But if you're doing too much, you have to trust us to reel you back to the right level, because we all want the same thing. We all want a good outcome from the exercise and the surgery. So, spring is that perfect time. We tend to be a little more sedentary over the winter, but spring is the time those spring sports are starting. People are back on the golf course, just gardening, all of those activities. We all get that itch to get back out, and very often you see or feel pains, a little swelling here or there, a little thing that is reacting to that new activity that you're doing. And, there's so many things. I always tell people that, it's normal to have a little discomfort or a little ache and soreness after you get back out in the spring and you're cleaning up all the junk out of the flower beds and things like that.
You're working those muscles that have sat around for 3 months.
You're right. But if that lasts more than a few days of normal, what you would expect soreness, then call us. See if there's some way that we might be able to assess, see what's going on, and see how we can help you going forward. We want people to be active. And it's a lot more fun when we don't hurt right?
Sure,
As
absolutely.
much. So much has to do with posture as we get a little older, learning the correct form. One of our therapy assistants, he's a golfer, and so he could help a whole lot more in that realm than I could. But that's what we try to do. We try to match people up and determine what's the root cause of what's going on, and how can we correct that so that you can still be active and
Right.
not hurt so much.
Stop right there. Finding the root cause. When you find what causes the problem, you can then fix it. If you just, and we all know that if you just go disguise that pain, go to the doctor, say, "Oh, I hurt here," and then you're saying, "Okay, well, I'm going to give you this to relieve the pain." It'll relieve the pain, but it's not solving the problem. And when you say get to that root cause, that's the key. Once you find out why it hurts, and you can develop a system, whether it be through physical therapy, it may need surgery if it's that bad, but whatever it takes to get it done and get it fixed, then get back in the right position to where you're moving forward again. That's the way you want to do it. Disguising a pain, and then possibly, especially if you have an issue with your shoulder or something, if you disguise that pain by taking a leave or something of that nature that hides it for a while, maybe you're doing some permanent damage to that shoulder. Gina, we don't want that for anybody, do we?
No, correct. Absolutely not. It's a lot is just we teach people to listen to their body. One of the biggest things that we've had is and it's it's in the news. It's people that have had COVID. A lot of people, some of these very odd symptoms, they're hanging around.
Yeah.
And it affects their daily life. So we are learning the right amount of activity and teaching people how to get past injury, how to get past those symptoms that they're having. Learning how to conserve that bucket of energy for the day. One of the biggest things that we have learned is just overall breathing correctly. You can use the wrong muscles, and it uses so much more energy, and we've been able to apply that to all kinds of pulmonary patients, COPD patients, emphysema patients, all of these things that if we can get in early and work with these people, their quality
Right.
of life is so much better.
Absolutely.
You keep doing things wrong or in a wrong way that could be corrected early, then we can really, we can help maintain where they are and prevent further problems for
further
them.
discomfort somewhere down the road, and that can. It's a lot easier to address it early than it is late, and sometimes it's hard to reverse. Or you can't even reverse it, and that's a problem.
Well, and it's hard to be active when you can't breathe.
Mm-hmm. And Gina, you know as well as I do, a lot of people, as you mentioned before, with knee soreness or maybe hip problems or maybe elbows or shoulders, and they, I don't want to get out there. It's going to hurt, Well, you need to go get assessed, as you were talking about earlier. And I think that's another big key. We know that there's an issue there. Maybe we don't want to find out what it is. And maybe it's really nothing, but we don't want to find out what it is because it might be bad. But you need to find out what it is, don't you?
You do. Knowledge, there's so much value in that. And just sometimes it's the simplest thing that you can do throughout the day that can make the difference. And it's not always big changes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's little, but it's knowing what is the issue and what are the things we can do to correct it.
And if you have pain in your shoulder, knees, things of that nature, Salem's got probably the best MRI around the area. It's the latest, has the open bore. You're not going to feel like a sardine when you go into some of those MRIs and you feel like you're in a tin can ready to close up. This is an open bore. It's very comfortable. And then they have the best images that come out.
Right.
That if there's something there, they know. They can tell you exactly what it is.
We will often, somebody may come to us and we will do our assessment. We will develop a plan. But if we feel that additional imaging may be beneficial or a referral to someone else, that's all within our scope to do that and give those recommendations and help the patient, help the provider, guide them to what can help them get over whatever it is that they're struggling with.
And sometimes, even somebody has something done, a surgery, and they say, okay, it's successful surgery and all that good stuff, and they come out, it all heals, and then but they still don't have the strength, they still don't have the power. Find out that they didn't get everything when they were in that surgery. So, sometimes you have to go back, and like you said, additional imaging would show that.
So that's a perfect example. Recently had a patient. He had a back surgery in the fall. No service, no therapy, no anything after that. I didn't see him for his back surgery, but he did not regain the functional strength and balance that he really needed. So I ended up seeing him for post a surgery to repair a broken hip because he fell. So things like that happen because people don't fully and correctly strengthen up after surgeries. And some things do improve on their own. However, if we know our bodies, if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not.
Sure.
And so there's people out there that can help direct us so that we can get where we need to be. Nobody wants to take a fall and then be out for a while with something broken.
Right.
That's no fun at all.
And healing and healing can happen, but it can also heal improperly. The right strategy in recovery is to get the right rehab so that you recover the right way. You get that flexibility back. You get that range of motion back. Okay, you get shoulder surgery and you do nothing, your range of motion is going to be limited to maybe about 50% of what you had unless you go through rehab, and they continue to work it to move that, to extend those ligaments, move those muscles, get that strength back. Gina, I don't have to tell you this. You know as well as I do. My father fell, hurt his shoulder years ago, and he slipped on a floor, came down and landed on his shoulder, and they said, oh, well, we can do surgery on that and put it all back. But my dad couldn't lift his arm more than even with his shoulder. That's as high as he could get it. And the doctor said, and my dad said, so how much range of motion am I going to get back? And then he said about 75%. My dad looked at him, he goes, 75% after surgery. So he goes, what if I just go through rehab now with the damage I have? How much will I get back? He said about 75, 80%. Why would I go get surgery? So my dad asked the question. He said, can you set me up with rehab? And they did. And the people came to his house, got him started. He got 97% back to where he was almost able to pull his arm all the way back over his head. But because he did it the right way, he asked, found out which was the best for him, and instead of getting the surgery, which would have left scar tissue, opted not to do it. And the rehab people came in, and they, every day, my dad did his 5 to 10 minutes of what he had to do to stretch and keep moving it. And when they come back in once every 2 weeks, they came back in and said he was doing great. And when I talked to him, he said, your dad is a model person for rehab. He said they ought to draw a picture and show your dad.
Because he followed through.
He followed through.
And that's so important. I mean, any kind of healthy living, diet, anything, following through makes all the difference. You were talking about shoulders. I feel like our occupational therapy, we don't give them all the credit that they deserve, but they work on anything in that upper quadrant, anything that has to do from basically from the shoulder to the hand, regardless of any diagnosis, arthritis, carpal tunnel syndrome, elbow pain, which we see a lot of. And our OT, she's lymphedema certified. So if people have swelling that doesn't resolve, there's a lot of reasons that could be the case. And there's a lot of things that we can do to really help manage that. Sometimes it's a circulation issue, a venous issue. Sometimes it's a cancer-related issue. Women that have mastectomies, sometimes they've had lymph nodes removed. That just messes with that lymph system, and that arm swells. There's just, we've had great success with our program. We've had several patients with neck, head, throat, tongue cancer in their mouth, and just developed some really odd swelling that there's no other way other than doing some of that manual lymph massage and teaching them things that can help them. So there's lots of success with some of these programs and things that we're able to do that you wouldn't necessarily think about.
Well, you don't think about it till you have it. That's when you think about it.
And
if you've never been affected by it, Gina, you just don't really understand, do you?
That is true. And there's more and more different types of cancers and things like that all of the time. And the treatments, a lot of them do have a lot of side effects. And so you don't always know what additional things can be done to help, or if that's just something you have to, deal with for having those treatments. But it's definitely worth coming to see us, seeing if there are some ways that we can help. And, of course, I'm kind of partial to my therapy crew, but
you're biased.
I am, but rightly so.
But absolutely, I was going to say with good reason.
Ideal Steve and I work with just good-hearted, down-to-earth people, and they really do care.
Yeah, who care?
Absolutely. And a wonderful work ethic. They come every day working hard, and we try to make it easy. We try to make it easy for our patients. Talk to your doctor. If something's giving you trouble and you have something kind of nagging at you, it's not getting better on its own. You've tried all those things that to try, but it's still nagging. Talk to your doctor, get an order. If it's something that we can't help you with and, we assess and we can't, we're going to be transparent and honest with you. But trust us to see if there are things that we can. So it's a matter of talking to your doctor, getting an order, and let us help you with the rest. We'll call your insurance for you, see if you need any pre-authorization, see if you have any restrictions as far as visits, any of that kind of stuff that just comes with insurance. We'll do a lot of that work for you. Set your appointments up to the best to your schedule. Work with you the best that we can as far as that goes, and help you develop a plan to get over what it is you're struck. Absolutely.
Get over the hump. You want to, we've talked about so many times before. It's just one of the key goals, Joyce said, is you want to get people back to where they were before the incident happened, but you actually want to make them better than they were before when they had the accident. So if your goal is to walk to the mailbox, you want them walking across the street to the mailbox. It's not just reaching there if it's possible. But the thing is, that's the kind of goal you want. You don't want somebody to just say, well, if I can take 2 steps, I'm good. Oh, you've done amazing work, and then they walk away. I don't see that in Gina, and I don't see that in our rehab department. They want to get you right back to where you were before anything ever happened so you can live the life that you want to live.
And it's a fun environment.
How do you feel when somebody gets back? I mean, can you explain?
Well, it's why we do what we do.
I know, but I mean, it's just that aura that comes across you, that just does glow, that feel, that brightness, that fulfillment. I mean, it has to feel great.
It is rewarding, and even if there's something that we can't 100% fix, we have made a difference. Mm-hmm. And that is why we're here. And it's just what we do. We just try to help people where they are, try to get them, determine what, like you said, what is it that they want to do? Mm-hmm. I can develop a goal for you.
Sure.
I can come up with all kinds of great things. But if it's not patient-centered and it's not what they want, then we're going to struggle with it, with that follow-through once they're finished with us.
And they're not going to believe in you like they do if you're shooting for their goal.
Well, sure.
Yeah. So if I'm trying to say that I want to go and I want to climb this mountain, and you're going to help me. But right now I can only make it halfway up, and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to keep pushing you until you get to the top of that mountain. Well, if I reach that goal, then you reach that goal. We both reach the same goal.
So what's interesting in that is sometimes we may achieve something, but there's so much more to achieve. Mm-hmm. So we just adjust the goal and keep moving forward. And seeing people tell us, I'm doing better than I even thought I was going to. And, getting off some of those medicines, doing some of those things that they really just had in their mind they were going to be stuck with for the rest of their life. Yeah. And, it's function, it's quality. It's just being happy with just every day. So pain is no fun.
No, it's not. And you guys do a great job of helping people get over that pain and move to the next level. It's got to be great. And Rehab Month spotlights people like yourself and your crew. And they should be spotlighted because it's a lot of work. A lot of patients probably doubt you when you first come in, and then you have to earn their trust, and you guys do a great job of that. I mean, I know my dad first, one time when he got done with his heart surgery, and they came in, they said, you got to do this. Oh, I'll never be able to do that, And the gentleman just worked with me, said, Joe, you're going to be able to do that, and you're going to be able to do more, And he just kept pumping him up, and I just watched my dad. He just evolved with this young man and got to that next level. And I'll tell you, when you get that sense of family, because they count on you to be there for them as their rock sometimes. But then when they get to that level, when they reach that goal, you're not quite the rock, but you're still their support staff.
And we have patients that call. They, past patients,
Sure.
They'll call, they'll stop by, or families. And so that means the world to us because they thought of us when, their loved one or their kiddo, was able to hurdle over whatever that obstacle was.
Which is exactly what I was saying. You become part of their family. You are adopted into their MO of living. You're now part of it because you were able to get somebody back to where they needed to be. And that's just a great feeling to have people care about you as much as you cared about them. Nice reciprocation, isn't it?
That's right.
It's great. Gina, I always love talking to you and about our friends from rehab because you guys do a tremendous job. And really, thank you for coming in, spending some time with us. And again, if you have a need for rehab, you don't have to go anywhere else. If you get your surgeries done in Columbia, Springfield, St. Louis, Rolla, no matter where it is, you want to come back home, you want your rehab done here, you're going to have the best crew around that you're going to have possibly take care of you. Two things, number one, I like about it. First, it's right here at home. You don't have to go anywhere. You have to be in a swing bed for a short period of time. You got a great crew working for you there. Then your rehab right here in town, right at Salem Hospital, or possibly at your own home. Which way or the other. It doesn't make any difference. And then, of course, you have people that you know, more than likely, somebody in that family, somebody in rehab, you probably know somebody in their family, and it's going to just feel like old home week. Eventually, you're going to find out that you're going to know all about the rehab department because that's the way they are, every one of them, and they're fantastic.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity just to come and talk to you about us, talk to you about the hospital. Yeah. It's I've got a great team, and it's a great place to work. So.
Well, you're a fantastic lady, and the job you do is incredible. We thank you for that. If anybody has any questions about rehab, can I give you a buzz?
Absolutely. You just call out to Salem Hospital. The phone number is 729-5917, and our therapy extension that comes directly to us is 5620.
As always, thanks for coming in, spending some time with us. Gina Daniels, Director of Rehab, right here on KSMO AM and FM now on a 95.7 side. We appreciate you that. Or streaming with us at ksmoradio.com or Spotlight on the Salem Memorial District Hospital.